on the back of the slides or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm going to call the meeting to order. There's a note here. Deb is coming in right now. There's a note here that says that the live stream system isn't working, but that the camera is constantly recording. So in order to be heard, here's the meeting materials. In order to be heard, you have to turn your mic on, which means you push your button towards the eye, and then bring the microphone down towards your face. Thank you. So Ben had a serious operation and went into rehab and is now home. He's been home for about a month now, but he's still got complications, so he's excused for today. He's not be joining us. Dana was called out of town and will not be joining us, and we do have a vacancy. So we are all present with the exception of those two, but we do have a forum. So if you just take a minute and look over the agenda and see if there's anything that you would like to add to the agenda. I, under old business, want to add a discussion on creating a grant subcommittee. Is there any other thing that we should want to add to? Welcome, Deb. Nice to see you, Deb. And thank you for your service. Anything else that you'd like added to the agenda? If not, then I'll move for the approval. All of those with this one change, grant subcommittee under 6C. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The agenda is adopted. Deb has done another fabulous job with our minutes. I hope you've had a chance to read them over. If not, take a second. I read them and found nothing to correct on them, so just let me know when you're ready to move forward on those.
Is someone going to be able to take the minutes today?
Oh, today?
Yeah, today.
I asked Jean, she said no, so anyone can take minutes?
Okay, I'll do it.
Okay.
I'm not going to be able to continue.
No, I'll do it. I get it. I'll do it.
All right. Thank you.
I just have to make some notes. I'll do it on my agenda.
I move for the approval of the minutes.
Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Minutes adopted. Thank you. Just making a note. All right. Do we have a financial report? I know the audit is done. Maybe by next month you guys could get the audit and we could look at that.
I thought it was done.
It is done.
But I mean, I thought we were provided that information. She emailed me, and I thought I gave that out before I left in June.
I don't think it was done until last month.
That's not here. See if I've got it here.
That's not the audit, is it? That's the budget. That's the budget.
The audit, yeah.
So we will. I'll make sure we get a copy of the final audit that was done, or maybe
I can email her and have it next month. You're not going to do it, Dennis?
No.
You're the treasurer,
Mhm.
so why wouldn't you do it?
Same reason you wouldn't be secretary.
So can you do it, Jean? And just get it to us for the next meeting?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. Public comment.
None. Well, I shouldn't say that. Just doing this, just as a first review your budget.
Could you speak up, please?
I'm not understanding your capital outlay for 1,000 and then it doesn't show it. So I'm not understanding. And the fact that there isn't that you don't have any
Don't have any.
money.
Well, this is not, I don't think that she gave us the complete thing, because this is the revenue and expenses,
Well, it was.
which would be a part of this, because the senior center does, we're going to talk about this later, but the senior center does capture revenue, and I don't see that it's reflected on here.
That's what I guess I'm
Right.
not, in fact, it's not reflected for 24, 25. I mean, I'm just, that's okay, we're going to talk about it. That was my only public comment.
Okay, old business, the senior center fund. We asked Deb if she would draft a letter for us to send to the trustees about the money that we've spent the last 10 years raising. And she has done that. I don't know if you have a copy or not, Marie. Did you make a copy that Marie could have a copy?
I can do this. You know that here.
The Senior Services Advisory Board has considered recent discussions by members of the Township Trustees and Administration as to the appropriate use of funds raised for the expansion of the Senior Center. As the planners, the Senior Services Advisory Board has taken this opportunity to look back over the records from the fundraising events that generated this money. Many hours were spent creating, organizing, and executing these fundraising events. We have received statements in advertisement as well as the memories of those involved to clearly determine the intent of these fundraisers and thereby the intended use of the funds. After much discussion, the Senior Services Advisory Board unanimously agreed that those funds were always meant to be specifically used towards the extension or addition of the Senior Center. This expansion was always meant to provide more space for seniors, the people and the patrons using the space, to have greater access to meals, activities, and events. We are certain that those who donated believed their money would be used in this specific way. Ms. Hildebrand stated that she disputes the existence of days when insufficient seating occurs. Her beliefs directly contradict the experiences of those who attend the Senior Center for meals. We have been told that Ms. Hildebrand's plan is to use the designated funds to expand the kitchen's footprint by adding exterior food storage. Although this would provide more usable floor space for the kitchen staff, it would not satisfy the stated intent, nor the spirit of the intent for these funds. We believe that this is an attempt to justify a change from the original purpose. Although the township does not have the legal say in the final use of these funds, we ask that your decision be made with integrity. Without the Senior Services Advisory Board, this money would not exist. It is our hope that the money will be used for the advertised reason and that you will honor the original intentions of those people who both contributed the money and worked so hard to raise it. Respectfully submitted, the Senior Services Advisory Board. Excellent.
Excellent.
Thank you.
I'm open to tweaking. It took me, as we, I meant to have this done in a week, and I'm so sorry that everything else else going on, I won't go into detail, of course, but
I see.
I just kept thinking of phrases I wanted to use and points I wanted to make. And it just took me a really long time to get it to where I felt it was not attacking,
Right.
but asserting.
Asserting is what we need, yeah, and
And,
very,
but I'm open to any tweaking, if you have if there's any phrasing that you would like adjusted, if there's any other point that you want made, please feel free to tell me, and I can, it won't tell me, yeah, I won't drop headlines, this has got to go, and this has got to go.
the whole thing in red.
Yeah, there you go.
I read it this afternoon, I thought it was perfect.
Yeah, I did too. It is very good. My only thought was,
Okay. No, seriously, I'm ready, I'm okay.
this is a slam towards Karen.
But I don't know what else to do,
Nancy, what did you say? I'm sorry.
Okay, so
It is
how do
true.
we, but how do we make sure that we're not appearing to attack while still referencing those events? Do we want it to be cloudier as to, and current administration has stated, that can be, has stated that they dispute?
Well, she is the administrator.
Well, they don't attend the senior center, so they don't even have any clue, really. The whole.
Again, that's why it contradicts the actual experiences, that the reality is being questioned, but that is the reality. My sister has started taking my dad, she's like, oh my gosh, if you don't get there, especially on a popular food day, by a certain time, good luck. Well, getting a spot, and can I ask you guys something that
Could you speak into the microphone, Sherry, please?
I have something that I might want to bring up to the board is, I was at a table, we had roast beef, it was a month ago or so, whatever, and there was an older person there who worked hard to get there, and they ran out of food. All of the office staff had come in between 11:30 and 12 to take their food out, this staff. Well, that's in our minutes. And it's
It's in the minutes
It's in the minutes.
from last week.
Yeah, let me just quick reference, okay.
It's interesting because at the meeting, at a township board meeting about a month ago, they accepted from the planning board, the planning commission, the CIP plan. And Ryan sat right there and said, well, I don't see anything from the Senior Services Advisory Board. Where is the information on the senior center? And I had a conversation with him before those were due, and he said, don't waste your time. We don't have any money, and we're not going to give it any attention. And Kate said to the board, if you would read your Senior Services Advisory Board minutes, you would see that the reason is referenced in those minutes. So I'm just saying that if that conversation that you feel is important, Sherry, needs to be had, it's in the minutes. And if they read the minutes, they would know what's going on.
I just want you to know, though, that I felt that was a very important point to make. It was under new business that board members have personally witnessed the meals running out before all the patrons were served, and that the township employees are known to get.
Yeah, it's between 11:30 and 12, they carry out the food, and the seniors can't start till noon.
How do we prioritize the seniors?
12 to 1 is seniors, and after that is extra.
Like we once did, the people in-house.
Nancy, I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. The same way we once did, where the people in-house were fed before the to-go meals.
Right, that's been our position forever. And when Mary was here as head cook, her rationale for doing it the other way around is that it's easier to get all these supplemental people out of the dining room before the people who are seated are fed. And it's less confusing. But it still means that people who come to eat lunch at times are not fed.
See, and I think because we discussed this last month, we talked about the fact that it's a logistical issue. It's a nightmare with logistics because of the size of the senior center, that we can't have all these people sitting around. I think the only solution is one of a chronological solution, to say that they only serve takeout at 12:30. So that to prevent the people from even coming that are getting takeout, I don't know how else to do it. But just let people know, like starting on a certain month, if you are going to be coming for takeout, please do not come until 12:30. That should give, most people have already gone through the line, they're back at their tables, they're eating, that clears the path. I don't see a different, I've been thinking about this, like,
The other option is not to serve the staff, that the staff not pick up food until 12:30. The DPW staff, the administrative staff.
but I don't think they're going to go for that, and I think there's this definite perception in the staff that when we have a concern that our seniors are not getting the services they need, that we're somehow attacking the staff. And that's really unfortunate. If the staff isn't doing their job and that's resulting in our seniors, a detriment to our seniors, that's not our responsibility. We didn't create that situation. We may be shining a light on it, but we didn't create it. And we have the right to, we have the responsibility to express concerns over detrimental things to our seniors. And that is one of them. And, I'm not opposed to that conversation, but I just feel that it won't be well received. And this way, it could be, it's going to be, so that people with takeout have to come later. We could still make the request to state, guys, don't come over until, again, chronologically, please don't come until 12:45, or, do you know what I mean? Make it more about timing. And so if they get there and they're in line behind seniors who are getting their takeout, the seated people have already been served, to make it strictly about the time. We ask that the office staff come at a certain time. We ask that, do you know what I mean? I'm just.
The only problem is the kitchen staff has to put together all of those takeouts. So if they don't put them together until after everybody in the senior center is served, they can't put them together until 12:30. So people can't come at 12:30, their meals won't be put together yet.
I assume they start putting them together like, what, 11:45 or something like that? Because they've got so many to
The
put.
takeaways,
Then they'll get
they
cold.
do it at 12:30, 11:30.
11:30, see?
We don't want them getting cold.
That's right.
And I have respect for their logistical needs. I get it. But
People come in from 11:30 to 12, just a strain. So.
For
they can't-
what?
for both,
For their takeout meals, they start coming in.
for both, right?
Oh, yeah.
If he's sick,
Yeah.
as well as the people coming in to stand and wait, come at that time.
Right.
Is there a possibility of some type of reservation
Just what I was thinking.
situation?
Why not?
How would that work?
A carry-out reservation, like
Anyone.
Well, then, you can't get a takeaway unless you call in and order it. So that in and of itself is like a reservation. But come winter, when it's cold and we're serving hot meals, we haven't served hot meals in a long time, but on a regular basis. But when we start serving hot meals on a regular basis again, it is going to be overcrowded in there. There's no doubt. I had a woman come sit down. I saved a place for Sherry, and she came in at 12:25. What did she come to? She came to a kitchen counter which had the salad that we had served in a box with a $3 mark on it, and no staff to serve her. No bread, no cookie, no explanation, nothing. So, I went over and had her come down and sit with us. Explained that Linda who drinks the money, was in the bathroom, and she'd be out. She should just enjoy her lunch. Explained where all the everything was that she needed to eat her lunch. And I apologized that she didn't have a croissant or a cookie. They sold the cookies. It just. Essentially, even at lunch today, which was a salad, there were 5 salads left and 2 bags of 6 cookies, and it's just a very popular place. This woman said that she came from DeWitt, but she said she's been trying to find a senior center to go to for a long time, and this is it. This is the one she's coming to, because it's the best there is around, and it's true.
So what you're saying is we're gonna be growing more.
More, yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
Well, and that, unfortunately, we were not able to finish a study that we started. The conversation because of staffing changes. Because we wanted to have questions asked to people. Have you ever come and seen how full it was and left? Have you ever not come because you just know there's not going to be room? Have you ever have been told by friends? And we had all this list where we started making questions. This was a few months back.
Yeah.
And we never, because of, again, the staffing changes, we never were able to complete those questions. And I think they're very important. And I honestly, I feel like with the situation that we're facing, we need photographic evidence because it's like our seniors don't mean anything. Their words mean nothing. This is their experience. And yet it's being dismissed in a public forum. That is troubling to me.
You know, technically, the takeouts have made a reservation. It's the people that are there that have not made a reservation. So the people that take out call in and they have a reservation
For their meal.
for their meal. And so it's the people that are coming in the door that really don't have a reservation. So really, they are at will, you know, I mean,
I think the people that come and make the effort.
I don't think we can blame the takeouts because they really do have a reservation.
I don't think this is about blame. I think it's about having a problem we're trying to solve.
It's logistical.
Yeah, it's logistical.
It's a logistical issue, and it has to do with time and space.
Yeah.
And if we run out of, I don't think we run out of food that often, but if we were to run out of food, it's really not the takeouts are not the cause. They have a reservation. And
We're not making them the bad guys. I don't, if that was the impression, that's not what I meant to do. I'm just talking about the timing of everything. And we do have a situation where we know staff is taking advantage of it, and that's their right to do so. They pay the higher price, that's their right to do so. But the seniors should be fed first.
I think that's the most important point that we could make, even in our minutes, to follow up this meeting, is that it's our opinion that we should respect our seniors and that they should be served first, and that administrative staff and DPW staff should be served last. Dennis?
And this is sort of addressing a little bit of what Jean was saying about reservations. Judy will probably remember, I think we're the only two on the board at that time. We did sort of a study of other senior centers in Michigan, and some of them, like I remember, the one I remember is Traverse City. The people that are sit-down people have to call and make a reservation. And it was discussed in our senior advisory board at that time, and it was turned down because they thought it would be too difficult having someone man the phones enough and having someone there all the time to take the reservations. Although now we do have someone there 5 days a week. So that is a possibility.
I was just thinking about how hard it would be for the seniors themselves. Now, my dad is being brought now by my sister, but he can't hear. He tries not to use, well, we try to have him not use the phone because he can't hear the phone anyway. And so to make that reservation would be very difficult.
You need to remember to make the reservation and to show up without a reservation and be turned away with that deal.
Right.
How about a sign-up sheet?
Oh, what?
A sign-up sheet for those meals. You know?
Which would be similar to a reservation.
It would be, and it could all be done ahead of time.
Yeah, but if I'm not there on Wednesday and I want lunch on Friday, I didn't sign the sheet.
Yeah.
if I'm there on Monday, but not on Wednesday, I didn't sign the sheet for Friday, I wouldn't have a meal.
Well,
It doesn't work unless you're there, a sign-up sheet.
But maybe the sign-up sheet could be out early,
But
you know,
people
on
still-
Monday for the week, or Friday.
The schedule's out for the whole month, and I go through there, and there are days I want to eat, and days I don't want to eat.
Yes,
And so you know, if you had a sheet out there with every meal of the whole month, people could sign up for the ones they wanted and, not send them
Life
those
life
days.
gets in the way of our changes.
Well, that's true, it does,
It is a really difficult, tricky logistical issue that only those of us who are in the senior center most days understand. It's not like Karen or any of her staff understand. Usually Izzy runs the meals over here before lunch is served. Today Kelly Kelly from the front office came and picked up the lunches because Izzy was busy. So and Jean, you're right, it's not often that we run out of food, but we do run out of food.
And Linda usually keeps a list, so she knows, like, say it's on a meatloaf day where you have so many meatloaves. She knows that number, Linda does. And so she will sometimes limit the takeouts. And
She does? Say that you can't have a takeout today?
She will sometimes limit the takeouts if they have 100 meatloaves
Right.
and there are 90 people there, she will not do takeouts for more than 10.
After lunch is served, you mean? Well, I mean, some people who come in for lunch and eat lunch take food away as well.
yeah, right.
I mean, it's not just that, even before the sales, I mean, they'll order 3 meals to go on top of the meal that they have, so it's a difficult.
I can see where, if anything, the easiest thing to do would be to tell the staff here, since they're not seniors,
To help us in prioritizing the
to
seniors.
get their meals last. If we have sufficient, they can tell Linda how many they want, but they're not going to get them until after everybody there is served. And the seniors have gotten their takeouts. Because they're not seniors.
Right. Right. I mean, that's why I think they should eat last,
So I think maybe we should start there.
because that could be 7 to 10 meals that.
Right.
Well, I have to say, I'm glad to hear that they are participating in the food, at least, even if it's not at the senior center. They're acknowledging that it's decent.
I mean, I've seen people.
It is a form of acknowledgement.
I've seen them order meals for a meeting. Anyway, so back to the letter that Doug wrote for us. Your concern, Nancy, is where it says,
The references in this Hildebrand.
in the 4th paragraph, we've been told that Karen's plans to use the. We weren't told that. She said that to us in that meeting where we had that discussion about the senior center.
We were told by her.
Yeah, we were told by her, so it needs to stay there.
You were told what?
We were told by Karen, when she answered a question of Ryan's, that's where she planned to get the money for expanding the kitchen.
Oh,
I think we could word it without using her name.
well, what I was thinking is that she stated that she disputes the existence of days when insufficient seating occurs.
She did.
And I heard
And I
that.
believe that, but she doesn't ever come down there. How could
That's
she
the irony of it.
That's the point Deb was making.
Yeah. It's an unfortunate, statement.
She states it, but she made that statement, but
But she doesn't have knowledge.
she did
Right.
not.
And it Kate did because Kate was there. That's the first part.
Yeah, we were able to get Kate to come to lunch.
I did that. Thank you.
I think the letter stands. I move that we submit this letter to the Board of Trustees.
Oh, that's absolutely fine, yes, I don't have any problem with it.
Okay, no, and I want to, again, on the record, happy to make any changes, would never take it personally.
No, this is.
I totally respect the opinions of everyone on this board, and, believe me, I went back and forth on, well, like I said, the whole month, trying to think of how to not come across as, adversarial, but firm in our resolve. It is an integrity issue. If you have fundraisers and you say, this is what the money is going to be used for, as a point of integrity, that needs to be the way it's used. And we lightly touched on, maybe if the board is not willing to tweak this building, then maybe this isn't the building where we need to end up eventually. And if that's the case, that money is going to be even more important. I don't want to use to adjust a building that in a couple of years everyone goes, you know what, I guess we can't use that building anymore because it's just way too small.
Well, and parking is an issue over there.
And parking is an issue. There's all kinds of issues with it. And so I would just, it'd almost be like throwing good money after bad. You know, it would be, I think, a big mistake to use that money to increase the footprint of the kitchen, because then that money is gone. Years of fundraising and work. And I mean, I read this, I was like blown away by the detail, by the thought put into everything. I mean, we're going to take down the donation jar to make sure it doesn't get stolen. I mean, thought to
Each cookie will come in its own plastic bag.
everything,
Right.
everything like that was so
She's referring to
impressive
the
me.
Kenny Rogers fundraising handbook, notebook that was put together by the team.
Yeah, it was phenomenal, and I mean, I've done fundraisers before. It was incredibly impressive to me. It was like that's a team that I would be proud to serve on. And yeah, that money was too hard gained to have it go to something that was not its intention, and to potentially eliminate grant raising possibilities. And we've discussed that too. That it's not uncommon that if you're writing a grant request, that they want you to come with some skin in the game. That needs to be our skin in the game. We can't lose that. I mean, it's tragic.
Because when I asked Ryan, not in a public meeting, but when I asked Ryan, referring to this money, if Karen uses that money for the kitchen equipment, and we go out and find a grant, and that was intended to be our match, will you, the county board, provide us with the match that is needed for a grant? And he said, no,
Right.
you can't count on it.
Exactly.
But we can count on that money that we raised ourselves.
Can we raise more money?
Yes.
But it's just so hard. It's a difficult thing. I mean, what is the money? What's the figure? What's our figure right now?
I don't know, I think it's
Ballpark.
37,000.
Between 36, 37, 38, something like that.
Okay, so mid to upper 30s, and it took 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now
we allowed to do fundraisers still?
One cookie at a time.
Yeah, there you go.
I still believe to be, I don't know, politically correct, I don't know if that's the right word, that we should say the superintendent rather than using Karen's name. I think it should say the superintendent has stated. Superintendent, no, supervisor, superintendent. Superintendent has stated, and we have been told that the superintendent's plan. I don't think.
Honestly, I think we should, along the same line, if we're going to do that, I would actually rephrase that we have been told to state the supervisor has stated.
The superintendent.
Superintendent has stated.
Can I plug in just 1 second? I understand exactly what you're saying, Judy. The problem with that is in 10 years, nobody's going to remember who the superintendent
You're right.
is. So if you're going to do that, which I understand exactly what you're saying, Superintendent Hildebrand, then someone can 10 years down the road, or
No,
20
it
years,
was
or 5,
not just.
actually even 2 years down the road, if she doesn't have to be here, somebody can say, oh,
Well, and it ties her into being the superintendent.
well, it does.
Both
Can I
ways.
make a suggestion? How about if Ms. Hildebrand starts with, that sentence starts with Superintendent Hildebrand, and then later, additionally, the superintendent's plan is to, so that her name is only mentioned once instead of twice.
Right.
And in that capacity, would that soften it a bit?
Yeah.
While still being a good public record?
Yeah, I just think that they're a very casual group. That does not say supervisor Finn Bliss. This does not say superintendent Karen Hildebrand. So I understand the casual nature of it, but I also understand the importance of designating the fact that she is what she, the role that.
How do we feel about that?
I think that's a good change.
Put her title, so put her title and only use her last name once.
Right.
Okay.
Is that,
Yeah.
I agree. I respect that position. I think it's, like I said, I worked pretty hard not to. And it was something that troubled me too. So, yeah, I love that. So that's what I'll do. And I'll get you updated, get you all, send that to you, okay?
So, they met day before yesterday. So they will meet again on the 30th of September, I imagine. I don't know.
No, it's before.
First Monday,
The first Monday in
October.
October,
That's what I understand.
Because you're only having 2
October the 7th.
Because we have 2 meetings this month already.
Oh, we don't work.
So the 30th is the third Monday, but they don't meet on the third Monday.
No,
Yes, you're saying that's true?
I think that's true. Right.
So they'll meet again October 7th. So if we could have this in front of them by October 7th, that gives time for the changes and the mail. And then what do we do? Mail them individually to each of the trustees? Or bring them in and put them in an envelope with their name on it and have them picked up at their mailboxes? Some of our trustees don't use email.
I would put them in an envelope and put them in their mailboxes.
Do both. Doesn't cost anything to do both.
Sure.
Email them and put them in their boxes.
Right.
And I would ask Ryan to read this.
Early.
No, read it at a board meeting.
Oh, okay.
To have it entered into the record, read it and have it entered into the record. Well, that would be fine, but he's in charge.
I can ask them.
Yeah, but she's the advisor. You should be the Sherry.
Sherry should read it. All right.
She's the advisor.
All right.
I will have this done today.
All
I
right.
will make this change and I will send it to everybody, okay? And then,
And I'll put it on the agenda to
Yeah.
So, the recreation coordinator, Naomi, quit. She has
We're
worked
in a month, right?
on the job a month, and she quit with immediate effect.
Was there a reason? Do we have any clue?
I have no idea. I know she was hired by Taylor, and she quit under Karen, so. Karen was on medical leave when she was hired, so I don't really know. But she's not there, and they're currently looking for another recreation director. I mean, it's a full-time job with benefits. How hard can it be? And so if you know of anyone who's looking for a good full-time job with benefits, send them over to see Karen. Like I said, it's a great job. And never mind. We don't have a recreation coordinator. I did have someone ask me in the senior center the other day, if I want to provide educational programming for the seniors, or if I want to do a presentation, or if I want to meet with seniors individually about their care plans, who should I see? What should I do? And I just said, well, at this time, I think the best thing for you to do is talk to Linda and see what she suggests. What avenue she suggests that you follow to get on the schedule. I mean, and Linda very well might say, go see Taylor. I don't really know, because no one has shared any of that information with us. So we have spoken several times about putting together a grant committee to look for grants for, I think there are three possibilities: an expansion, an addition, or a new senior center. I think that as long as we're looking for money, we might as well look for all of the possibilities. Nancy, Jean, and I agreed to serve on that committee, and there's someone who plays cards who would be really good on that subcommittee. Her name is Dorothy. So what I'd like to do is find a time, maybe a Tuesday or a Thursday morning when there's no cards, that we could meet. I mean, I know that Jean and Dorothy play hand and foot, so that's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I know Nancy does euchre Tuesdays and Thursdays in the afternoon, so it seems it's Tuesday or Thursday morning that would be best. So, Jean, would you be willing to try to put together that committee and with Dorothy and Nancy and I, and see if we could do it on a Tuesday or a Thursday? I will say that I will be out of town from the week of, from September 27th until October 4th, so it can't be that first week of October. I'll be out of
I'll be
town.
gone for the 3 weeks, or 2 or 3 weeks after that. So it'll
But if
probably.
we could meet before our next Senior Services Advisory Board meeting, which is the third week in October, I think it's the 18th of October is our next Senior Services Advisory Board meeting.
It shouldn't be the 18th.
The 16th or something, I think it's the 16th, I don't have my glasses.
I won't be here on the 16th. I won't be back until the 23rd.
16th is Wednesday.
Oh, you won't be at the meeting on the 16th?
No.
16th.
Okay, well, if you could set it up for us, we'll figure out the best time, and maybe we don't have a report until November, that's fine. So you have in front of you, if you picked it up at the front desk, the 2025 proposed budget for the senior center. The reason I got this was because, one, I wanted to see if they had allocated the equipment money for the kitchen in this budget, and I do not see it. As Marie pointed out during the public comments,
What's the equipment purchase?
Yeah, what's that?
kitchen equipment that they were going to use our money for.
It's in here.
It's here.
Yeah.
It says equipment purchase.
Third one, fourth one from the bottom, third one from the
Oh,
bottom.
the $5,000. You think that's it?
I don't think that could.
I don't know.
Cover it in executive.
That's not going to be a walk-in refrigerator, walk-in freezer, and the change
Exterior of the building.
and the exterior building out the building. That's not what that is. I don't know what that is, but I do not believe that that's it. But we have a trustee here who can sure ask these questions. So they are going to meet on the budget 4 times. They created a finance committee, which is Jennifer, Ryan, and Karen, and they're going to review every page of the budget, and they're going to meet twice, and then there will be 2 meetings of the trustees before their regular meeting, in which they will have an hour discussion about the budget. And it's those meetings that I think we need to go to, especially when they start talking about the senior center, so we can keep our ear to the ground and know exactly what their intentions are. I just quickly looked through the entire budget that I asked Cheryl to bring in to see if it was perhaps hidden there under capital improvements or something, but I didn't see it. In addition to that, it's my understanding that they have decided, now I started talking to them about this last February, that they will have a strategic planning meeting, that they will develop a strategic plan. I don't know how you pass a budget without having a plan. They don't have a plan currently. But sometime before the beginning of the year, they're supposed to do some strategic planning. My reason for putting this on the agenda is we really have to keep our eye on this. It would be good for us to understand what's in front of us more clearly. We do have revenue as well as expenses, and that is not in your, there is not the revenue and expenses piece of our senior center budget. And I'd also really like to understand the staffing and how they're funding the staffing. But in addition to that, during the strategic planning meeting, I really feel it's important that we participate and discuss the senior center. The expansion, the addition, and or the possibility of a new building. And I think that in order for the township trustees to even begin to discuss the expansion or the addition, they, for their own benefit, will have to have the question answered about parking. If they invest in nothing but answering that question about parking spaces this year, we will be able to move forward.
Now, today, when there were 20 people playing cards, and we had 6 card tables, and we were backed up probably to table 3 and table 7 back in there. All those people were parked. So if you were to make that porch a 4-season room, there would not, additional parking would not be needed. All those people were already parked. So it's like, yes, some additional parking might be nice, but we don't need additional parking for the people that are there playing cards.
Well, no, we don't need additional parking for people who are playing cards, but we need parking for people who are coming in to eat. The woman who joined our table at the very end said, it was so hard for me to find a place to park. I wanted to park in the shade, and there was no place to park in the shade, but she said, it was so hard for me to find a place to park.
Okay.
So the reality is, and with people coming and getting takeaways, it just is confusing. And I know that they are going to stop anything that we try to fund or build until we answer the question of parking. And I feel that we should in some way insist that if they're going to make any investments in the senior center next year, it is to answer the question about where will we put additional parking. Because until they answer that question, they're not going to look at expanding the building in any way, I don't think.
How many parking places do we currently have available?
Well, I have that number.
When I was here on Meatloaf Day this last time, not only was the parking lot full and people parking in places that actually weren't parking places, every single parking place in front of the police department was also filled. That's how busy it was.
I've had to park up in here before.
Yeah.
What?
I've had to park up in here before.
And if you're in a walker or a wheelchair, that's really.
Exactly, yeah.
It's like not.
I do.
Well, and people do complain that we just don't have enough handicapper places.
Right.
But I mean, if we did not do the expansion, that is the big building, all that space where we were going to expand to, you could put parking there. If you were serious about answering that question. You look at what they did to build up Webster Road. There's no reason you can't build up the end of the parking lot towards the fire station. There's all that empty land there, and expand the parking lot towards the fire station. I mean, realistically, there are ways to do it, but they have to be shown that. They have to see that. They have to come up with that answer themselves, or they won't let it go. I'm sure they would not let it go anywhere.
And if we do come up with more parking, where are we going to see them?
Right. That's why I just hate
But you're
any money
saying that
to be
the
spent.
people we have, that they're already seated.
More people.
Being expansional, so we can see more. They have to have a place to park.
Well, it goes both directions.
Yeah.
it goes both directions. And
We're growing.
yeah, we are growing, and I mean, this is upsetting to me, but I found out we're getting older, and like everyone in this town is getting older. It is, I think that needs to be a report. That needs to be looked into.
Percentages.
Well, I think it's 100% last I heard. People are getting older in this town, and it's widespread. It's statewide.
Well, over 25% of our population is now over the age of 55. That wasn't true 5 years ago.
Right. Total numbers of older increasing, percentage increasing, both.
Yeah, I honestly, when I look at this, logistics, when I look at it financially, I do not see that senior center being, that location
Being ideal.
being ideal in the short term even, but definitely not in the long term. I just don't think it's going to work for us, for this town, and I think that the sooner we kind of come to that conclusion, the sooner that we can actually come up with a plan, even if it takes 5 years, that will better utilize all the money we've raised, any money that's raised in the future, the taxes of our citizens. I mean, if we don't,
So maybe
we need a plan.
look into the grants. We need to look into not only making that a four-city room, but we need to look into the cost of expanding the parking lot, like Judy said, toward the fire department, building that up, and what will it cost to build that up and add more? So maybe that
So
should
if we
be
do that, Jean,
part of
and
our grant.
how long will that work? How long will that be sufficient? Because I think we have people now that would like to come that don't come. And once, over the course of a couple of years, if we expand the parking, expand the building, do both, which again, they both kind of depend on each other, and then we're going to have more older citizens, and they're not going to come because there's not room for them, because we're already maxed. We really are maxed. Even though we have days where all the seats aren't filled, we're still maxed.
But I think we need to deal with current. I think we need to deal with this first.
But if we waste the money now, then we won't have it for a true solution. It will be the equivalent of a
So to
waste.
answer your question, we have 37 parking places
37 parking places,
dedicated to the senior center.
and we have 20 people that come and play cards.
Right, that was gonna,
17 for,
for people who are coming for lunch.
Yes.
That's part of the problem.
yes.
Is because there are so many card players that when you come for lunch, there's no place to park because the card players are all still there. I mean, I think that's great, but
Yeah.
it just complicates the situation.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be awesome to have a space where this is where the tables are set up and the people playing cards are there? However, once dinner starts going, we can put up a few more tables in that area as the card players come and get something to eat. You know what I mean?
No, we eat at the tables. A lot of times, we eat at the curb.
Most of the time, they don't even come into the dining room, even though there's spaces at the tables, which I don't understand, but not my business.
Well, I'm with you, because I have been to a senior center over Putnam Township, Putnam County, Putnam Township, I don't know, they have a separate room for people that want to play cards and do whatever, they have another room for this or that, and
Yeah, it doesn't have to be massive, but it should function.
Well, today we had Tony in there doing hearing testing. So you've got loud music in the kitchen, you've got 20 people playing cards, you've got people who've come to socialize, and you've got Tony sitting there in the same room trying to do hearing tests. It just doesn't work.
totally agree.
There's so many services. So many services our seniors could benefit from that they can't receive because of
Right.
size constraints.
Right.
We can't even go there, we can't even consider it.
I mean, even the number of people that we have in the senior center who are veterans, or wives or widows of veterans, they should be in there talking to those people every week. I mean, I shouldn't be the one who's informing them about services that they're eligible for because they're a widow of a veteran. I mean, I can, I will, but there are people who are paid professionals who would be glad to come and talk, but there's no place to even have a private conversation.
Need more than one room.
Nancy.
The VFW or the
Sorry?
down here at the American Legion, there's somebody in there.
I On
Once
Wednesdays.
a month, or is it every Wednesday?
I don't know, every other Wednesday or something.
Yeah. So if nothing else, we can direct people to him.
I have, but still, you know, I just use that as an example.
Right, yeah.
Because it's a need that we have, and our community, we should, again, I said it at the last meeting, we need to be providing services to those people who are coming in, who are desperate, and don't have any place else to turn, but they trust us. That's our job. And it has to be done at the senior center. And it can't be done in a vacuum. We, the Senior Services Advisory Board, cannot bring services in there without a staff person sitting here at our table working with us through that. That doesn't make any sense. It just ridiculous waste of our time. I mean, and we did ask them, what the Board of Trustees, what would they like us to do for them? And they've never answered our question.
Well, except to say, advise us, and then mind your business.
Exactly.
They don't, I mean, they mocked us. They made fun of us, you know? So, you know, they think that, we think that everything we say, you know, they have, that we believe they should do every single thing. They really, like I said at that one meeting, they painted us as being extremely unreasonable, hard to work with, and everything they can do to silence our voice. And it's unfortunate because we're the voice of our seniors. We're the ones with the experience. We're the ones that see what's going on. And
They don't even come to,
What did you say? What did you say?
they don't even come to the lunches. You know, Kate was the first person that I got to come, I believe, except for me, ever.
Oh, Marie.
Yeah, but I'm bored now.
Right.
Now. And how can they talk about it without ever coming to see it? I took a bunch of pictures of how crowded it was. Got them on my phone.
Well, they need to see them. You know, I don't know how we could just get them up there on that big screen, but we ought to just be putting them up there and that they should just run during a meeting, you know.
you're like, what is the thing? You hold up the newspaper so they can see the date. Remember? They used to do that in the old days. Like, you hold the newspaper and this is what happened this day. I just dated myself again. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Judy, you know, I mentioned this earlier, and maybe it should have been on the agenda, or it could be on the agenda next month. But I'd like to see us talk about purchasing 8 folding chairs for the card tables that are in the middle, so that we're not pulling chairs from table 4 and table 8. So when those people come in, they can sit down. We need 8 folding chairs. And there's plenty of room there to store them when we're not using them. But, and they may be used by other card groups, who knows?
They might have 8 folding chairs in this closet here that they could take over to the senior center.
That's what I said. Who do we contact to ask them? But then you mentioned maybe we would just purchase 8 chairs. But
I think there's a rack of folding chairs hanging up at the community center. And I think there's folding chairs hanging up in the pole barn.
so how do we request?
Did you put it in the suggestion box? That you
No,
needed
I
8
didn't,
chairs?
because you had mentioned bringing it up here. So, I will put it in the suggestion box that they bring 8 folding chairs and leave them there. Is that what I should do?
Where are we gonna store them?
There's room right up against the wall between the
Under the
refrigerator
TV.
and the back door. She's got a walker there. Izzy's got a walker there for us to put our purses on. We don't need a walker to put our purses on. We used to stack the black chairs there, right between the refrigerator and the back door. Now they're all being used, so there's no stack of black chairs. There's plenty of room for 8 chairs.
I'm not visualizing this, between the refrigerator and the back door.
The refrigerator, the little refrigerator. the
Oh,
tea-
that one. She's just saying put them up against the wall.
Yeah, put them up against the wall there. There's room for 8 chairs.
Put that in the suggestion box and see if we
I
can
will
get
do
some
that.
action on that.
I will do that.
BOT update?
Pretty much covered everything we've talked about.
If you can get those dates for us and even send them to me, I could send them out to everyone.
The dates of
The budget meetings and the strategic planning meetings. Strategic planning meetings. Public comment?
Yeah, do you want me to go?
Sure.
You guys always make this so interesting. I will.
We should have had her take notes.
No, I narrowed it down to two, but I love this committee because of the exchange that everybody does. Carry on.
Excuse me.
I,
Did you check to make sure the microphone's on up there?
switch.
Brian Mechanic, 3%.
Go ahead and speak, I got it.
Exactly, no, I can do this. When you talked about carryout, I'm listening to that discussion that you're having for, I'm thinking, it's ridiculous. But my point that I wanted to make is, I like the idea of those who are doing carryout, and I'm going to check with Dennis because he should do this, being last. The seniors are really, really important, and they should be the very first, that's a senior services center, right? So your seniors should be getting their food first. And then anybody that wants to carry out, understanding that whatever's left, then thank you. Now what do I do? Oh, my God, oh, you're good. Thank you. Then whoever is left, obviously, if there is anything left, because the whole purpose of your senior services isn't so much the food, it's the cost. It's a heck of a lot cheaper to eat there than it is to go downtown and try to find someplace. So it's a dollar issue. So I guess my point being that serving them last makes all the sense in the world because your seniors are more important, should get theirs first. If you need more, then that's got to come from the administration, that there needs to be more food made up in order to meet your number. Do you know? You don't know how many at this point actually do, and I should ask Dennis, because he's the one that used to do the carry out all the time. When you did that, would it be a problem to do it last as opposed to first?
At the time we were doing it before, there were nowhere near as many takeouts as there is now. There are so many
So
now.
many more now.
There's more than 50 a day.
I'm sure.
Takeout.
Yeah.
Okay, so your seniors, if you have 50, whatever the kitchen is preparing, which bless their hearts, they do such a great job at that.
They do about 110 to 120 meals a day.
Then if they do that, they should be doing 140. I mean, if there's 50 takeouts, if you figured 50 at the end of whatever it is that you're serving, then obviously they can do that. But I like the idea of the takeouts coming last. I thought that made sense because the seniors really do deserve, they're there for the food and they're the ones you're serving. So takeout, and if there are seniors that are asking for takeouts, you shouldn't have a problem with it. What's the difference between coming at 11, 12:30? What's the difference?
The pressure would be on the cooks,
Okay, so,
trying to get all those meals done after the fact, people standing around waiting for their meals and then having to rush and everything.
And seniors sitting there eating because they were served first,
Correct.
So now they're all served, so now the kitchen has to make up the to-goes, and there's like 50 additional meals. And those people are coming in, and they're waiting and standing around while people are eating. It's just logistically a nightmare.
so the reverse of that would make it more logistic nightmare. In other words, if the pressure then on the cook isn't before,
There's
your
not as much
seniors
pressure
there.
on them, because they can start at 11:30.
as after. Okay, so they'd have to rearrange and say X amount of people are going to do or make up their takeouts. I mean, there is a way to do that.
The original premise of doing it before
Okay,
is if we did that at the end, they were worried about so many people standing around that nobody could move. Because, of course, all the people would be sitting at the tables eating, and you'd have these 50 people or 30 or whatever standing around waiting to get theirs. People couldn't make it to the restroom because
Sounds like a movie
crowds and stuff.
But there was no difference in when people arrived then. And that's why my suggestion was that you would say, if you're coming for takeout, we're not serving takeout until this time, to keep them from being in the way.
So that they
So 1 o'clock
understand.
or something like that.
But then we have a problem with leftover food, because right now we serve the takeaways, we serve the seniors, and then if there's food left, it's sold.
That's true.
And that food, we never waste any food in the kitchen. There's never
Who do
any.
you sell it to?
The people who are at the senior center.
Who are sitting at the table.
I didn't,
Okay.
They go up and look and they're like, oh, well, you got a couple
That's,
of cookies.
I can take that home
Like,
for
yeah.
on next meal. Okay.
and they sell it at a discounted price.
Okay, so what's the issue there? Why is that,
Well, if the
You don't
seniors,
serve takeaways until 1 o'clock.
right?
Most of those seniors are going to have eaten and gone, and so who's going to buy the takeout? Who's going to buy the leftover food?
So you're thinking that the senior is sitting there contemplating to buy, they do it,
They're already gone.
then it's,
Once by the time you know for sure what you've got left over.
if they serve the takeout
well,
class.
that's the point. So that you know how much is left over. If you have, so in other words, what we're saying, I think what you're saying is, you don't know the number of the takeaways. that
We
you
do
have.
it, we do it 12 o'clock, when we've packed them all
Okay,
up.
let's say you know it's 12:30, and you pack them all up. You have volunteers that will work at,
No, they don't allow volunteers in the kitchen.
but they hand them out.
Volunteers, no, the staff does.
So you take volunteers to hand it out.
No, the
I
staff,
mean, there's logistical ways of looking at each section and each problem. My point being, and this is, again, you guys make the decision, has to be that your seniors have got to come first. You should never, ever, ever have a senior walk away not fed.
oh, for sure.
That's just simply wrong. That's just wrong. So if you need to turn it upside down, turn it upside down. Look at the logistics of what it is that you do. Now, understanding, that's supposed to be staff. So what they do and how they do it depends on what your administration has to say. I understand that. But here, with the advisory, your issue has to do with the fact that your seniors have got to come first. That's just the only, there's just no other way.
And I can see what you're saying, feed the 60 people that are sitting down, and then start making up the 50 meals, but tell them they can't pick them up till 1. By the time they get those all made up, they'll know how much they've got left over, and then they can start putting it up.
However it works, there's got to be logistics are one of those kind of strange things that you just play with until you finally figure it out. But you start at one point, and one point would be the seniors have got to come first. Period. So,
The majority of takeout are seniors.
okay, so if they don't eat at the table, they come in and get their food and take it home, correct? Okay. So whoever, again, you're at the same thing. Seniors have got to come first. The ones that are there get served. They should be served. It doesn't make any difference if they come whatever time they come. They've got to come first. The senior who takes it home should come first.
They do.
Everything
I
else,
guess I don't really see a real problem in the way they do it now.
obviously somebody went without food. And that was the issue. I think that was the problem.
Sometimes we do run out of food, but. And do you have another comment, dear?
Yes, I do. The other comment had to do with your parking. I have a question for that. Has anybody ever thought about the administration going to them and moving the lean-to that's there?
Moving what?
Moving the police, where the police cars park.
No,
The lean-to.
the lean-to, which is
Where the petrol is?
where your DPW keeps their equipment. There's a lot of empty spaces in the parking lot out here. So if you took that building, is it possible to move it or to reconstruct or whatever it is that they do so that gives you additional parking? I don't know. It's a thought. Because when you talk about the parking, it's like this parking lot the township has is empty a lot of times. So I didn't know if moving the building, I don't know if that's logistically possible. I have no clue. It just means that, to move it over would certainly give you more parking, if that is an issue. Anyway, I enjoyed the conversation, so thank you, and really appreciate it.
Thank you, Marie.
With the budget.
Any other comments from the committee members? Thank you.
I move we adjourn.
All right, thank you, Janice.
Over.
Right, got it. Thank you.
Is there a second?
Wait a minute.
Second. Meeting adjourned.